Boom, we're live. Good morning. Happy Monday, Wonder Fanatics. Jeez, it is. What a weekend. We are live here on multiple platforms. Hello to everyone on TikTok over here, and hello to everyone on YouTube right here. It is March 24th, the first Monday after the first weekend. Let me move this screen. There's like this great, the power of the sun's hitting right in the neck. Look at this right here. That's like actually white light. Like that will turn into, that's going to turn into just like, it's the worst sunburn of all time. Here we go. I am mentally fried. We are fresh off of March Madness. I was in Raleigh all weekend, and boy, what a weekend. Just saw as much college basketball as you could possibly consume. And it's exhausting. It is exhausting. Don't let anyone tell you differently. If you were to play in 4 games, like if you were to physically play in 4 March Madness games, I think you still have enough brain power to go on and do other things. I can't watch 4 games and then expect to do anything else. This is going to sound crazy. Playing in basketball games, in fact, exercising, you're not using your head. You are, but you're not. You're not like how you're watching. If you played in 4 college basketball games in a row, you'd be physically exhausted, no doubt. It's a stupid thing to disregard. You'd be totally exhausted. But you could go about and do you could go and you could have a full workday. I'm watching, your brain is just processing what's happening, who do I root for? Like the emotional roller coaster of March Madness is so draining. I'm not going to go on the record and say it's easier to be a fan than to play in anything, but it is very hard being a fan. Don't ever denounce that. Don't ever denounce being a fan. If you're a fan of anything, good on you. That's a job. Especially here at Wunderfan, the greatest college pro sports fan rewards app out there. There's nothing like it. If you download the Wunderfan app this weekend, you probably saw an incredible opportunity to earn cash rewards. Oh, thank you for the nice comment saying I'm him, whoever that was. We just launched Watch to Earn. That feature is going to change how you consume sports. So Wunderfan is a sports fan rewards app where you basically find your venue, and anytime you're at a stadium, a game, and no matter what, you can earn. Before that, we had an opportunity called Newsfeed. We had the Newsfeed feature where you could earn cash rewards by scrolling on the Newsfeed. But then we just launched over the weekend, just in time for March Madness, the Watch to Earn feature, which means you could just take a picture of your television, find your game, and you're earning. We've never seen that before in any app ever, and we did it. Okay. Obviously, if you're here on YouTube, you definitely want to see who won. Oh, wait. You definitely want to see. I was talking to the thing. I'm over here. Hi. It's that kind of a Monday. My brain is not in my head. It is actually all over the floor, scattered about. But yes, if you download the Wunderfan app, you probably had a lot of fun this weekend. Definitely. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, you definitely want to see who won our $1,000 cash giveaway. For those that don't know what I'm talking about in the TikTok, we do this thing every single week where we give $1,000 away to anyone that joins the raffle on the Wunderfan app. That's right. So here's the Wunderfan app for those that can't see. Right here is our Watch to Earn feature, the blue bar up top. Definitely pull that out every time you're watching a game. Just hit Watch to Earn, and you are literally earning just for what? I can lead a horse to water. I can't force it to drink. If you don't want to earn while watching sports and you just want to watch sports for free, go for it. You have the power to do so, but you can earn using Wunderfan. But there's also an opportunity to earn our raffle. You could win our raffle. Right here, it's a page that looks like this, little pink and purple blue action, right? Nice little gradient, the watercolors. Looks like a beautiful sunset. This is our weekly cash giveaway. So if you're here on the YouTube channel, we have people that watch this show from classrooms, which I think is incredible. Yes, this could definitely be part of the education curriculum. I'm not saying that at all. But I do like how Wunderfan has grown, that it's become a staple of, I don't know, youth upbringing. But yeah. All right, let's talk about today's content. Someone just said, are you excited for the NBA playoffs? That's a great question for next week. I said it last week. This is an awesome opportunity to put the NBA sort of on hiatus for a second. Not that it sucks, but like this is a cool, well, tonight, tomorrow, the next night you could talk about NBA because it still exists. But every year we see it where people you don't have to, the NBA and NHL or whatever else you watch, it can exist, but you could just take a break. You take a little break, focus on college basketball. It's the awesome 4 days of college basketball, probably the best 4 days in any postseason in any sport, usually. But not this year. No, not this year. It was a little chalky. And that's what we're talking about today. I think March Madness might be in trouble. I think it's definitely in harm's way. And for all the wrong reasons, not because you can't make a game more exciting, right? Like we still had really exciting games. But at the end of the day, if you look at all the teams that are still alive, it's primarily teams, except for a few that squeaked through. Good for them, for the BYUs, the Ole Misses. That's awesome to see. But we don't have any big surprises this year, which I think was a bit of a letdown. That's kind of what separates March Madness from, say, the NBA playoffs, is that in March Madness, any team can go on that Cinderella run. Any team can go on that Cinderella run. If the slipper fits, you're dancing. And you could dance for a while. Somebody said, who was your pick to win March Madness this year? I actually, before the tournament started, I went with Florida. And I know I'm sitting here saying like, oh, it's too chalky. And I went with chalk. I did think Florida looked just unstoppable throughout the whole season. And then I was thinking, well, there's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some craziness here. Maybe Missouri finds its way in the Final Four. Maybe New Mexico. Of course, that didn't happen because Missouri shot 15% from the field before they lost to Drake. And then Michigan State played New Mexico last night, and the refs absolutely made sure with every cell in their body that New Mexico couldn't do a goddamn thing, which is always fun. I love when they get involved. That was the first game where I was like, okay, this is a problem. This sucks. New Mexico had 10 fouls in the second half. They were already forcing Michigan State to just go straight to the free throw line. The bonus for Michigan State happened with like 12 minutes left in the second half. Like the refs were just like, well, we need to see Izzo, I guess. Okay, that's fun. You know what's not fun? Winning for like if every single team wins, like if it's just chalk, all the favorites. When the favorites all win, that's not fun. That sucks. That's horrible. Golly. This tab keeps opening up on my browser, which is really annoying. No, it's not a bad tab. It's just it's probably a virus. It's probably a virus from some really sus company. No big deal. Anyway, so I just don't. I don't know. Is it NIL's fault? Did NIL do this? Everyone's very quick to blame NIL. As soon as college sports has a slight hitch, they're always like, NIL. I knew it. It was paying the players. I knew it. I don't think it's that simple. I think NIL is so needed, by the way. Like, if you just want to sit here and just go back to the way the things were, oh, this is how they've always been. That's like the worst phrase ever in any field of life. Well, we should do it this way because this is how things have always been. I want you to think about how things were 50 years ago. Just walk down the street, and no matter where you are on earth, and think about how things were. Sometimes it's not so nice. However, sometimes tradition is awesome. But I will say that college sports not paying their athletes, even though it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, is heinous. And don't for 1 second say, we need to remove NIL to make things better. That's not how you make things better. You just go back to just feeding the most corrupt, power-hungry individuals on the face of the earth. People who work for the NCAA. Do we not remember, like 3 days ago, how North Carolina leapfrogged 3 or 4 more deserving teams to get into the NCAA tournament because their athletic director, who is also on the board of the selection committee, got them in, who, by the way, received a raise for doing so? So North Carolina literally made the tournament. Athletic director got a raise because he was the one that was playing, right? Then they lose by couple possessions. They were down the whole game. They almost came back. They didn't. So what? What was the point of having them in? Ole Miss is in the Sweet 16. Like, was it worth it? That's my point. Is like the second you try to blame NIL for something, it's like it's not NIL. It's not NIL. Like, I know I put out a video today on TikTok saying like it's not the NIL is not at fault here. Not at all. Because without the NIL, then you just have these incredible programs that have been good because they build just years of, like, they just turn into a factory, which, by the way, they're probably paying their players. Let's be real. Some good SEC program that's good for like 25 years. Yeah. Oh, is it because Saban was a really, come on. Like, they're now, no, they're the coaches that are forced to retire due to NIL being a thing they just don't know how to play the new game. They had their old ways. Maybe the old ways including an account in the Cayman Islands or something. I don't know. My point is, don't blame NIL. NIL makes college sports a lot better. And the NIL is not the reason that March Madness is bad this year. I think it's much simpler. I think the teams that were really good this year were a lot better than the teams that are mid. Usually you have teams that are like, a little, that they're a little inflated, right? You have like, I don't know, a great Gonzaga team that was good all year. They were number 1 all year, but are they that good? Because they just beat the hell out of some WCC team in conference play. And then they lose to like an Arkansas team, right? That's the March Madness I think you're used to, is seeing number 1 Gonzaga play number 9 Arkansas or number 8, I don't know, VCU, and they lose. And you're like, this is madness, right? Or you see some 14 seed beat some mediocre Missouri team, right? You see Murray State come in, led by John Morant, beat Marquette, right? Because it just, because some of these teams aren't good. I think this year, the top teams were just really good. And that could be the fault of NIL, by the way. Like, I don't think NIL is to blame, where it's like there's no one wants to be at a mid-major anymore. They don't have any money. Well, I think this year it all just kind of worked out that the transfer portal worked in such a way that the top teams stayed really good. Like, the top teams that recruited really, I mean, Houston right now, Houston is a byproduct of their own success. What Houston is doing right now, Houston, before NIL, before it was off to the races, Houston, you could see that program developing, growing. Coach Sampson, Kelvin, crushing it. You could see that. And then NIL starts to play a factor. They get a little bit more money. They go to the Final Four. They raise even more money. You have Houston Big E donors and alumnus that are like, yeah, I want to see them win a natty. It's about time, right? That Houston is years of growing the program, plus NIL help, plus you got all these studs that transferred in or they stuck with it, right? Duke is just Duke. Duke is, you got one of the best prospects ever to come out of America in Cooper Flagg, who I saw, by the way, and everything. Cooper Flagg is everything they say and more, because you have to understand, when you try, just because he's not scoring 50 a game doesn't mean he's not absolutely impacting the game. I watched with my eyeballs. This dude consumed the minds of like 3 dudes every single time he had the ball. It was, all right, the guy in front of him is absolutely screwed, but he's okay because he has a guy right behind him in help. And then the third guy in help is also right there ready to go. So Cooper Flag is taken care of. The only problem is with that defensive scheme is that you still have the rest of Duke, which is just great. You have 3 guys that are potentially lottery. 3 Duke players are potentially going in the lottery. Top 8. Not even top 10, like top 8. So when you triple Cooper Flag, who doesn't even play that much, to be honest, guy goes in for like 25 minutes because he's still kind of wounded. You got Proctor, who just can't miss. You got 3 other guys that all were probably the best player their high school has ever seen. Duke's great. Then going to Florida. Florida, you could see this progression as well. Florida's just big, long, strong. That Florida UConn game, I was there. So I got to see Florida, UConn, Duke, Baylor, Mississippi State, and obviously those 16 seeds that Duke and Florida just ransacked. I got to see all of them play. It was really cool because we probably saw a national champion there, right? We probably saw a national champion right there. I think Florida is probably going to win it all. I think Duke is incredible, but Duke has holes. Duke's holes are if Cooper Flag gets hurt, then that changes their whole offense. But B, if the other guys who are wide open, buck ass nude, wide open, so open, if they don't make their shots, and I know that's somewhat of an oversimplification of how basketball is played. Like, yeah, if you don't make your shots, you're going to lose. But I mean, like Duke, the looks that Duke players get, it's incredible. I mean, you got guys on islands. You got guys that are sitting in other time zones for minutes before a defender can close out. That's the Cooper Flag effect. Now, going over to the other side of the bracket, where I really didn't have a whole lot of faith, and I'll be honest. And one team that we're going to talk about right now, one team that I really just sort of forgot about was Auburn. I just looked at Auburn all year, and I was like, these guys are so good. Auburn is so good. And then I was like, but they're also like, they're just human. I mean, they're really solid. Like Auburn's really solid. Like Florida is big and athletic, and they can all shoot. They can't make free throws. I can tell you that much. Florida cannot make a free throw to save their life, but they are clutch, and they can defend. And if they got to score, they could score. They got 10 ways they could score. Walter Clayton Jr., the point guard, is the guy. But Auburn, to me, it just kind of felt like, what are we? You know, they let Alabama State stick around for a minute. That was interesting. Saw a lot of Auburn fans really nervous. But yeah, it was remarkable. March Madness live. I think March Madness at home is still probably better, especially if you can just kind of flip-flop on channels to the different games that are coming to a close. That said, if you're seeing shit games, watching these guys play live, especially the good teams, watching them cook, like watching Cooper Flag, I said this the other day, it felt illegal being that close to Cooper Flag. I was right there, right behind the basket. We set up a little thing on socials. I was wearing big suits. Me and my collaborator, my partner, we were at Parker. We were wearing these huge suits. And if you found us, you get Wonder. Which, by the way, thank you all for participating. That was a lot of fun. If you found us, you would get Wonder. And you could see how close we were to the Duke bench. I honestly thought it was rude how close we were to Cooper Flag. The dude has so much aura. There's so much energy that's radiating just above him, around him, next to him, adjacent to him. even in my assigned seat, it just felt like I was too close. Like I shouldn't be this close. You know, I felt like he needed like a detail, like a security detail around him, like Secret Service. I don't know. He is something. He is special. And a lot of people are saying he's going to be the next Kawhi Leonard, which I think is a crazy pull. Prime Kawhi. We haven't heard that phrase in a while. Prime Kawhi Leonard. Possibly because that Kawhi just doesn't exist anymore. But you get my point. He is that good. I think Cooper Flag is that guy. I'll tell you what sucked was, didn't turn my ringer off. That's embarrassing. I'll tell you what sucked is, let's say you decided this year you were going to make a pretty chaotic bracket. Or better yet, let's say you just like every year figured, well, it's March Madness. I'm going to make a bracket that reflects madness. I don't want to be a square and go on national TV and write 1 versus 2 in every quadrant of the bracket. If every Elite Eight is 1 versus 2, you're just a square. You literally cannot fit in a round hole because you are a square. That's what I believed in before the tournament started. And who's the idiot now, by the way? Like, I gave these guys so much crap. The guys that went on TV and they're like, yeah, I really think it's going to be, at the end, we're going to see all 1s play all 2s. And I was like, this sucks. This is horrible. You guys have no balls. You got no edge. You're just out here, like, you're out here ordering vanilla ice cream with vanilla cake. And then you go home and you go to bed at 8. And then you take a shower with your shirt on because you don't want to get a rash. Like, it's just so safe. I made fun of everyone that had a really safe. No way that we're going to get this mediocre March Madness. March mediocreness. I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought we were going to get upsets. I thought we were going to get some crazy teams that are just going to squirt through, the Drakes, the Colorado States. But no, the most maddening ending we got, believe it or not, actually came from a favorite, Maryland, pretty much evading a travel. Was the Maryland play a travel? Yes or no? Absolutely a travel. Like, you could define a step. It's like going back to what is a catch. If it looks like a travel, it's probably a travel. Because what is a step? Right? Like, when does the step start? I hate these discussions because there are some players that actually bypass what a travel is. They're so good that it's like, well, he's not capable of traveling because only really bad players travel. Any really good player, that's just in their arsenal of offensive moves, right? The Euro step. Is it a travel? No, it's European. Okay, so is it like a stretch travel? Like, is it a stretch? I don't know. It's European. Sounds fun. Like, I don't know. I just sit around and I think to myself, if this was it's all about the time of the game and it's all about the player, the moment, situation. But if that play happened with 8 minutes to go in the first half, that is 1,000% getting called travel every time. Right? 1,000%. It's 9 steps. A blind guy could have called that a travel. He'd be like, I heard, like, a blind guy's got a stick. He's like, 1, 2. I heard 4 steps at least. The game's over here. Oh, that's right. Sorry. But he turns. You get my point. That was a travel. But because we kind of needed that, I'm actually glad they didn't call it. I'm very glad they didn't call it. That would have sucked if they would have called it. I'm just saying it was a travel. and I'm very, you know me. The second the second the refs jump in and make it about them, pisses me off. I freak out. I think that sucks. I don't want to see a ref show. I think it was a relatively ref-free March Madness, right? Oh, Wyatt Smith, love your content. Thank you, Wyatt. You're the man. Thank you very much for the nice words. Very nice. As I was. I digress. If that play had happened with 8 minutes to go in the first half, it is absolutely a travel, and the player probably goes, yeah, and like jogs back on defense, right? Because if you travel, you travel. It's traveling is sort of the because you kind of know, and truthfully, well, my right foot moved, my left foot moved, my right. That's 1, 2, 3 steps. If you could feel one too many pieces of footwork in there, travel. Right? So is that being called at the end of the game a good thing? No, absolutely not. But just call it what it is. It's a travel. Somebody said, what about Nick Clifford falling asleep and causing a turnover and a 5-point swing? Well, Corey Flo, that's a good point because you can't really account for those. In fact, that's what you have. That's sort of what makes something we see. That's sort of what makes March Madness so great are these point swings. And I think we didn't see enough of point swings. We almost did. The Wisconsin BYU game, that was this close. You had your traditional screw up. There was a technical. There's a minute left. You turn a 7-point game into a 5-point game because of the technical, and then you have the ball, and they score. And now all of a sudden, oh shoot, you're down 3 with a minute to go, and they just turn it over. Wow. Then they screwed up. They give the ball back to BYU. BYU goes down. They make a bucket. Wisconsin's down 1 with 10 seconds left. That is March Madness. We didn't see the ball go through the net, but you got that. You get it in spurts. So was this March Madness really, really bad? No. We're just used to a very, I don't want to say bloody because that's crude and graphic, but yeah, we're used to a very upsetty, wild, what's the word? Maddening March Madness. I mean, it's called March Madness for Christ's sake. What do you want to see? You want to watch Duke play? Okay. Actually, before I say something really dumb, there is a two-sided coin. There is a two-sided coin to all this. If you get upsets in the first round, but then you're stuck with these teams through the whole tournament, at some point, the 15 seed Cinderella darling is going to get their brakes beaten off by one of those 1 seeds, right? Let's just say Norfolk State decided this is the year. Somebody prayed to their God. Somebody got NIL money. Whatever the hell happened, Norfolk State, let's just say they beat Florida. Insane, right? Insane. That in itself pays the price of admission. You see a 1 seed go down, hell yeah. They win again. We have ourselves a Sweet 16 team. A darling, a tournament darling, as they would say, right? Let's say they win one more time. They're in the Elite 8. Everybody is rooting for these guys. This happened with St. Peter's a few years ago where they emerged all the way to the Elite 8. They could not quite make it into the Final Four. It was awesome. It was so awesome seeing that tournament run. Everything about that was just incredible. But then finally, at some point, they meet their maker. And it's never, ever pretty. In fact, the only time a team really Cinderella'd their way through the tournament and died gracefully, Butler, led by Gordon Hayward, and Brad Stevens. A Brad Stevens coach team led by Gordon Hayward. That Butler team, they lost by 2 to Duke. Well, Davidson, somebody just brought up Davidson. Davidson with Curry, they beat really good teams, and they did it with the superstar, and you have Curry, but pretty sure Davidson, correct me if I'm wrong, why I don't want to come off as a know-it-all, but didn't they lose in the Elite Eight to, was it Kansas? They lost to Kansas because they lost to Kansas, right? Was it they lose to Kansas or they lose to somebody and they lost pretty handedly? Tell me I'm right. I'm right? Yes, we got a yes from Wyatt Smith. Yes. So Davidson lost to Kansas. Of course, they beat the hell out of some really good teams. They beat Gonzaga. I think they beat Wisconsin. You beat some awesome teams, really good programs. Curry, the guy, go figure. But then they got beaten up by Kansas, or maybe it was a closer game. Was it a close game? Year before they beat Notre Dame. Let's see. Davidson versus Kansas. I wonder. It was 2008. Oh my God, it was a 2-point game. Okay. So there you go. Okay. So Curry led Davidson and just had this crazy run, and they lost to Kansas by 2. That's right. Okay. Wow. All right. So they did die gracefully. But Butler made it to the Natty. Butler beat everybody except Duke. Butler lost in the Natty, and they almost made that half-court. I mean, he almost made that half-court shot. Like, that was the fling and a prayer. It was a foot off. And that's saying something. A half-court shot? Like, that was a very close call. Butler probably was the only team to ever do that. But, I mean, that's the exception, is Butler and the Davidsons. But those guys were, Gordon Hayward had a great career until his leg turned to dust. Steph Curry, he's having a pretty okay career in the NBA. I say Steph Curry's having an okay career, right? When we all agree Steph Curry is having a pretty okay career. He's done a few things, right? Nothing. Curry hasn't done anything crazy, right? I mean, he's won 4 NBA finals and MVP. He's regarded as the greatest shooter of all time. He's probably up there in the GOAT conversation, but he hasn't done much crazy. The unforced Curry slander is actually getting on my nerves. When people still find a way to say Curry's not one of the GOATs, just do me a favor and bury yourself. But yeah, that's where I'm at with March. It's a two-sided coin. You can't have it both ways. Like, if you want craziness in the first round, you want all these teams to shoot out. Like, look at the 2023 March Madness bracket. That Final Four, was it FAU, San Diego State, UConn, and was it Arkansas? Is that what it was? Arkansas, or is it Houston? What was the 2023 Final Four? Because whatever that Final Four was, we got a good game with FAU, San Diego State, but it was just UConn beating the Christ out of everybody else. Let's see. 2023 Final Four. Getting real sick of this MetaMask bullshit that keeps popping up in my browser. Yeah, it was UConn. No, it was Miami. That's right. So it was UConn, San Diego State, Miami, and Florida Atlantic. That was when Miami beat Miami beat Texas. If you remember that game was crazy. Texas was up like, 12 points, 12, 15 points at the end of the game. And they just forgot. They forgot. They were like, well, we used to know how to score, but now we don't know how to do that anymore. They forgot. They forgot how to score with about a minute left, and Miami won. That game was disgusting. Oh, I had Texas in my Final Four. Probably would have won a handful of money. Nobody was talking about Texas that year. Oh, and they lost to the U. Larry Larrañaga. What's his name? Larry? I can't remember. Yeah, he's gone now. He retired. He says, I can't keep up with the NIL. Go figure. But when you get those crazy Final Fours, is it really that entertaining? Because I think there's an element that we had last year. Purdue versus UConn. You get a whole tournament of craziness just so you can get 1 seed versus 1 seed. I mean, 2 of the best teams, they play each other. You had Zach Edey and Purdue versus just the behemoth that UConn was. The game wasn't that exciting. Not really close at all. But that was a cool way to finish. That was a cool game. Spread was like what, 8? It was like 8 or 9 points. But UConn was also just so good that year. Like UConn killed everybody they played. That might have been one of the more impressive teams ever to complete the back-to-back and doing it like that. They were so good. Didn't they trail like for 15 seconds all tournament? I think that's right. I think UConn trailed to San Diego State. Ryan Schwartz, Wunderfan ambassador and dear friend of mine, Ryan Schwartz, was on that San Diego State team that gave UConn its only deficit for 30 seconds. That's something. That's crazy. Holy shit. That's crazy. But yeah, that's the problem. It's a two-sided coin. What do you want to see? Do you want to see madness or do you want to see exciting basketball down the stretch? Because I know we're complaining right now because we didn't get our fixing in. We didn't get our itch. Our itch was not satisfied. I have an itch for madness, and I feel like I got like 1% of that. No, I got 0.1% of my itch satisfied. We got one buzzer beater where it was quite literally Maryland beating the buzzer. Great. Then again, they won. Okay, cool. They beat Colorado State. Good team. Great game. What am I saying? Great game. Good team. Don't know two things about them. They won the Mountain West. Every team from the Mountain West now is gone. So, again, who cares? But then you have the possibility now of having really good matchups. So going forward, you have 1 versus 2, 2 versus 3, 1-4. The craziness is kind of over. Like, who's the lowest seeded team or highest? It's the other way around. Who is it? BYU and Ole Miss. Those are the two of the higher seeds now. They're both 6s. Yeah. Okay. This is a good question. We're going to do one more question, and then we are going to announce who won $1,000. So again, if you're just joining us here on the live, or you're just joining us on the YouTube, if you're watching from class, stay in school, kids. Remember that. If you're just joining us, remember this. Every week, we're giving away $1,000 on the Wunderfan app. All you got to do is you got to just download the app and enter our contest. There's a barrier to entry to the raffle. It's 100 Wonder. Do you want to know how you can get 100 Wonder? It's called Watch to Earn. It's the newest feature in the line of innovation from Wunderfan. You can literally take a picture of your TV of any game. You can do it tonight, tomorrow night, whatever you want. Do whatever you want. And that's your entry into the contest. We're going to announce the winner in 3 minutes. Okay. Before we do, though, here we go. We are going to talk about this one thing that Wyatt Smith brought up in the TikTok I think is great. How many NBA guys could carry an NCAA title? I think he meant to say what NBA, what that was a question that was brought up. And I don't think it's discussed about enough because I think it's a really good concept. I think the question is, what's the threshold? Who is the worst NBA player that could carry a really bad team throughout all of March Madness? And so what's not talked about enough is it's like, okay, because if you give SGA, if you put Shea Gilgeous-Alexander on, Norfolk State, you take him right now. You take SGA right now, the front runner for the MVP of the NBA, and you put him on Norfolk State. He's getting 55 points a game. There is nothing anybody can do to stop him. He's getting 35 in the NBA. You put him with children, he's going for 55 a game, right? So you can't put him there. You definitely cannot put Jokic in there because he'll have 30 rebounds, 40 points, and 20 assists, and that's playing 30 minutes of the game. No one's stopping Jokic, obviously. Can't do Giannis because Giannis is incredible. He'll out-athlete, out-strengthen, out-maneuver. Giannis is not. Also can't do a guy like Curry or Damian Lillard. These guys did it then. Like, think about Curry then carried teams. Curry now, who's stronger, bigger, smarter, better at everything. Yeah, he'll carry now as well because he did it then. Same with Damian Lillard. He did it then. He'll carry now. Then you think about a guy like CJ McCollum, right? So CJ McCollum, really good player, great shooter. Like a Bradley Beal's a good example too. Could a Bradley Beal right now, like Bradley Beal or CJ McCollum go on like Drake? Yeah, they would carry. Those guys are both capable of going for 40. That's all it takes in March. Can you have one guy go for 40? Because like the other players, they're still good players. They're like, I'm sure every team's got a decent center or a guy that can shoot or kind of shoot. But you put one guy on CJ McCollum or one guy on Bradley Beal, they're getting to the rack every time. They're also going to they're going to put the clamps on you. Every NBA player can guard a college basketball player. Like on the exception of like Edey or Cooper Flagg, because these guys are expected to go to the NBA and then guard the best players in the NBA, right? Sometimes there's nothing you can do. But like every team feasibly should have a center or a wing or somebody else so that it's not just CJ McCollum and a bunch of high schoolers. So what's the threshold? What's the player that probably is the last one available to carry a team in March Madness? I think I've seen a lot of Peyton Pritchards. I think I could buy that. You put Peyton Pritchard again because it's like who right now, not where they were in college. But if you look, Peyton Pritchard in college, he led very successful campaigns at Oregon, a lot of them. If you look at Brandon Podziemski, kind of same thing, led some great campaigns. You put him there now, he's probably getting 15 to 20 rebounds. Josh Hart, you put Josh Hart on a college basketball team right now. Wait, he won. You can't put any of those former Villanova players because they did it then. Clay, I think Clay would still do it. Clay could still do it. Yeah, because at any moment, Clay, I don't know if can Clay go for 60 anymore? Probably not. I don't think Clay could go for 60 anymore, but like, you see Clay could go for 30 a night in the NBA. He could absolutely get 40 or 50 in college. They're going against college kids. Clay's a good one. Let me just go through some of the teams here. Just see DeMar DeRozan, obviously, he could do it. Let's find the worst player. I want to see if a guard. Let's find a guard. Jamal Murray obviously could do great things. Give me I think Peyton Pritchard's a great example. Like Peyton Pritchard now or Brandon Podziemski now. I like those two. What's the worst NBA player that could carry a team right now? Pods could do it because he rebounds a lot. Josh Hart obviously did it. Could like Chris Paul do it? Maybe. De'Aaron Fox obviously can do it. He almost beat the Warriors himself. He goes for 50 or 60 a couple times if he needs to. Desmond Bane. Interesting. Memphis. Desmond Bane he was TCU. He had pretty good runs. Desmond Bane now in college, he's a bull. If you see him, he's huge, massive. No one's stopping him. He could shoot the lights out too. Another way. Kennard. Luke Kennard from Memphis. I mean, he could light up an NBA team now. Kennard in college, if you put this Kennard, because I remember Luke Kennard was drafted early, very early, but he's panning now. Bet you Luke Kennard, he'd carry a team. I'm just going down the list here. Be curious to see what Tyler Hero could do. Yeah, he could carry, absolutely. Tyler Hero could carry. These are all starters, though. We need like a guy off the bench. Who's like an unassuming guy? Let's go to the Kings. The recent Kings game. Kings played Milwaukee and lost. They do that often now. Oh! Markelle Fultz. Could Markelle Fultz now go? That's a good question. Could a lottery pick from the past now go lead a great March Madness campaign? Like Markelle Fultz or Kevin Knox now Let's see who else. Who else is like a great example? Christ, like Marvin Bagley. No, James Wiseman. Yeah, James Wiseman could do it because he's so big. I mean, that's what DJ Burns did last year for NC State. Yeah, so a big guy could do it. A skilled big could absolutely lead a team. So James Wiseman could do it. I bet you Kevin Knox could probably do it. Let's go to the Warriors. Who else on the Warriors could do it? I'm just spitballing with you guys now. I'm going to call it. Kuminga could do it. Gary Payton. I think Gary Payton could lead a team. Gary Payton is an unbelievable defender. Gary Payton probably could get you 25 to 30 points off of steals and dunks and rebounds and putbacks, and he makes a couple threes. Who else could do it? Kuminga. Yeah. Moses Moody. Draymond could obviously do it. Quentin Post could no, maybe. I don't know. All right, that's enough of that. Here we go. Enough. I've been reading you guys off a cliff all episode. Here we go. We're gonna officially give away the $1,000 now. If you've been waiting patiently, good for you. It's about to pay off. Okay. We had a lot of entries. Thousands of entries last week. Wow. Thousands of entries on the Wunderfan app to win $1,000. Remember, folks, any one of you could be this week's winner. So I have a list of all the entries right here. I can't show you because I don't want to expose anyone's emails. But if you want, I'm going to choose a winner at random. We're going to spin this wheel. We're going to spin a wheel and then we're going to pick that way. But if you choose to enter, you can now enter as many times. You've always been able to enter as many times as you want, but you can feasibly do it now because the barrier to entry is so low. It's 100 Wonder. You can get 100 Wonder just by watching one game. One game equals one entry into the contest. The rest you can just redeem and get cash rewards. It's that simple using the Wunderfan app. Trust me, you really got to start using it. It's incredible. Okay, enough flirting. Here we go. We are going to spin this wheel now. I'm spinning the wheel. It's begun. Spinning the wheel. Moment of truth. It's happening now. Spinning the wheel. And the winner is... It's still spinning. I just want to freeze. It's still spinning. We built this city. We built this. All right, I'm done. And this week's winner of $1,000 cash is Austin Wade. Wow. We got a Boise State email address, Austin Wade at boisestate.edu. Congratulations to Austin Wade, Boise State. Good for you. You won. If you're watching live from class, I'm so sorry you didn't win, but guess what? There's always next week. Always next week. You enter as many times as you want. There's no limits to how often you can enter. It's now easier than ever thanks to our new Watch Turn feature. You can enter by watching one game. Austin Wade, congratulations. Our representatives will reach out to you with $1,000 sent to your email. To everyone else that's just tuned in, we're wrapping up the show now. If you just jumped on, but yes, we just gave away $1,000. Congrats to the lucky winner. If you do not have the Wunderfan app and you want to participate, there's always next week. This contest is not going away. Download the Wunderfan app today. Congratulations to Austin Wade. But guess what? I can see we have people that entered from South Africa, Italy, all over the world. It's great. Awesome. Keep growing. Keep going. It's always next week. Okay, we're going to shut the live down now. Thank you. See you throughout the week. We'll see you we'll do some lives this week during the nights, but ciao. Ending the live there and ending the live here for all my YouTubers. Thank you for joining us for the classroom that was watching. Stay in school and thank your teachers. Always thank your teachers. Teachers are heroes. All right. Peace.